here's the deal. I don't get stopped in the grocery store with people firing off questions about the carnivore diet like I'm running a Q&A booth. But when people do ask me about it, or when I see stuff that people say online, some of it's really kind of funny, and some of it is also a little insulting, and some of it just makes me want to hand them a pamphlet that says, yes, I poop. Thanks for asking. So today, I thought that it would be kind of fun to go through some of the weirder questions that people ask me about on carnivore. At least the ones that they're definitely thinking about, but maybe are too polite to ask out loud. Some of them are legit, they are, and some of them are just, I don't know, I don't even know what to say. So if you're new here, I'm Kat. I share my carnivore and animal-based journey, not as some perfect guru, but as a regular person figuring this out in regular life, health, hormones, the mess, the funny, all of it. So let's get into it. Number one, first and foremost, is do you eat steak all day? Is that the only thing that you eat? And that's classic. People hear the carnivore diet and immediately picture me sitting there at the table with a giant caveman tomahawk and a steak in one hand and a knife in another, although I guess maybe cavemen didn't use knives, but like I'm grunting like I live in a cave. I don't know. Don't get me wrong, though. If ribeye 3 times a day was actually in the budget, I'd probably try it because ribeye is amazing, but no, that is not real life. Most days I eat a mix of things: ground beef, chicken thighs, eggs, bacon, salmon, shrimp, pork belly, I don't know, lamb if I'm feeling fancy. And here's something that most people don't realize, and that is ground beef is basically, in my opinion, the MVP of carnivore. It's affordable. You can make it 100 different ways. It cooks fast, keeps you full. I can eat it plain. I can eat it with salt. I can make burger patties. I can mix it with an egg. It's versatile. It's realistic. It's just a staple. So yes, I do eat steak, but no, I don't sit around gnawing on ribeyes all day like Fred Flintstone. Carnivore has variety, just in different ways than the standard American diet. If it walked, if it swam, if it flew, it's probably been on my plate at some point. Number 2, what about vitamins? Aren't you deficient? This one always does kind of crack me up. People act like plants are the only source of vitamins, like spinach is this magical superfood that's holding civilizations together. I don't know. The truth is, animal foods are some of the most nutrient-dense things that you can eat. A steak has iron, it has zinc, it has magnesium, selenium, and all of the B vitamins. Eggs have choline and vitamin D, and fish has omega-3s. It's all right there, and it's in forms that your body can actually use, because that's the word that people forget: bioavailable. Plants might technically contain certain nutrients, but they also contain things like oxalates and phytates that block your body from absorbing them. Spinach has iron, but most of it your body can't use, and steak has iron and your body says, thank you, I'll have that. So no, I'm not on the verge of collapsing from some vitamin deficiency. I probably get better nutrition eating meat than I did when I was loading up on healthy kale chips and protein bars that tasted like drywall, you guys. The next one is a good one. It's a good one, actually. And that is, don't you miss bread? And sometimes, yeah, I do. Bread smells like happiness, and I'm not a robot. So here's the thing. When I was eating bread, I was also eating the side effects that came with it. The blood sugar roller coaster, the cravings, the bloating, the crash. You eat it, you feel good for 20 minutes, and then suddenly you're starving again and you're ready for a nap. Now I eat ribeye or even just some ground beef and eggs, and I'm full for hours. I don't get that frantic, I need food right now or I'm going to bite somebody's head off kind of feeling. So that's a win for me. And yes, bread does sometimes sneak into my dreams. It looks good, it smells good, but it wrecks your life, you guys. If you let it back in, it will wreck your life. My favorite all-time one, I used to talk about it a lot in my previous videos, and that is, how do you poop? The poop question. Everybody wants to know. Sometimes no one wants to ask, so let's just put it on the table. Do I still go? Yes, I hear a lot about constipation. For me, it's just different. When you eat plants, fiber bulks things up, but that doesn't actually mean it's healthier, you guys. It just means that you're making more waste. When you eat mostly meat, your body actually uses more of what you're eating, so there's less waste that it needs to get rid of. Things are much more efficient. they're just much more efficient. It's not that I don't go. It's just a lot less dramatic. And honestly, it's not the horror story that everybody thinks about. So no, I'm not sitting here begging the bathroom gods for mercy. My digestive system is doing just fine. Now, again, in the beginning I had diarrhea, but that's because I didn't have my fat to protein ratio figured out. And I like to believe that sometimes constipation is because you're not getting enough fat, but I am not a medical practitioner, so I don't know that for a fact. So if you're having that problem and it's not going away, you probably should go see somebody. But another one that I get a lot is, isn't it super expensive? And I'm not going to lie to you, there are times that it can be. People hear about carnivore and they think it's all about dollar signs. It's all dollar signs. And I suppose if I was eating at a steakhouse every night, then I would be broke. But in real life, typically carnivore is way cheaper than people expect. I buy bulk ground beef at Costco. I get big things of chicken thighs, pork belly, chuck roast and all that. And I cut it up and I stock my freezer with it. They're not fancy cuts, but they're regular, affordable foods. Now, sometimes, like my recent Costco haul, I did have to do a really big haul and it was expensive, but that's not what I do on the regular. Most of the time, I buy one of those rib roasts and I cut it up into, 20, 30 steaks or whatever it ends up being. I put it in my freezer and it lasts me a long time, especially because I eat a lot of ground beef and eggs. So the sneaky part that nobody wants to talk about is once you cut out all the snacks, the takeout, all your coffee runs, and the random, let me grab a bag of chips and a soda, your food bill is going to go down, at least for that part of it. I used to buy these like tons of protein bars, and I mean, they were like $3 a bar almost. And I had one a couple weeks ago before I started back on carnivore. They taste like cardboard, so I don't even know what I was thinking, but I do spend a lot less overall, and I do eat better. I'm not filling my grocery cart with 10 different things to snack on later. Carnivore foods seem like they might be expensive until you realize that you're actually simplifying everything. And like I said, buy in bulk, cut it up, put it in your freezer. That helps a lot. I do have a budget video on my channel that if you want to go to Walmart and you want to keep your expenses under a certain amount, I actually have a video that shows you how you can eat good, healthy, perfect carnivore for the cheap. So check that out. Another big one that I hear about all the time, and anybody in the carnivore community hears about all the time, and that is, aren't you worried about your cholesterol? The scary word that refuses to die. People act like if you eat eggs, your arteries are going to explode. And here's what most folks don't realize, and that is cholesterol is essential. Your body needs it to make hormones, repair its cells, keep your brain functioning. High cholesterol by itself isn't the full picture. What matters more is the inflammation, the blood sugar, your triglycerides, the stuff that actually does wreck your health. When I was eating a high carb diet, that's when my labs looked really bad. My blood sugar was spiking and crashing. I felt like garbage. Everything was out of balance. And you guys, I went to get my cholesterol done one time. My triglycerides were so bad that my sample was milky and they couldn't even give me my numbers. It was horrible. And I was a vegan. So now on carnivore, my blood sugar is steady. I know because I had a continuous glucose monitor on. My energy stays very consistent. My triglycerides are lower and my cholesterol is better. I still have slightly elevated regular cholesterol, but when you factor in, like there's a formula that you do with your triglycerides and stuff, I'm good. Cholesterol is not the villain, you guys, despite what the food pyramid taught us in the 1980s. It's just not. And I'm not a doctor. There's a lot of videos out there that go into great depth about cholesterol and like the big fluffy kinds and all that. And if you're interested, I really encourage you to look it up and do your research. Another one I get a lot is, what on earth do you drink? And this one's a funny one to me because I think that people must picture me running around the place sipping beef broth all day. And there's nothing wrong with that if you are. But in reality, I drink water. I drink a lot of sparkling water. I drink electrolytes. I drink coffee. I don't drink tea, but you guys, I mean, it's not exotic what I'm doing. It's just regular, and I don't really have much more to say on that. Just water works fine for me. Another one that I get a fair amount is, don't you get bored? And people think that eating only meat is boring. But here's the question that I always ask back, and that is, are your sandwiches boring? Is your pizza boring? Is your pasta boring? Because most people actually eat those things over and over and over again, and they don't call it boring. It's the same for carnivore. I mix it up. I might have a ribeye one night. Tonight we might have salmon. Maybe we'll have shrimp tomorrow, pork belly, burgers. I mean, gosh, pork belly. Pork belly night is like, it feels like a holiday. I love pork belly so much. And another thing that people don't get is that my taste buds have changed. When you're not drowning food in sugary spices and sugary sauces, then you actually start to taste how good meat really is. To me, a simple ribeye with salt, it just tastes amazing. I don't feel deprived. I guess if you didn't like steak or meat, maybe that would be a problem. I don't know. I enjoy it. So, and I used to be a vegan, so what does that say? Anyhow, I didn't want to make this really, really long. I'm in my kitchen and I know that my kiddo is going to be coming down here before too much longer. So there you go. The weird questions, the funny questions, and the honest answers that I've got for carnivore. If you've got any questions that you've been too shy to ask, feel free to drop it in the comments down below, because I promise I've heard it all and nothing is too weird at this point. If you're new here, please hit subscribe. I share my weekly check-ins, what I eat, recipes, real life ups and downs of this lifestyle, and how I'm working through my 30 days back on carnivore. So thank you so much for hanging out with me today. And no, I don't just eat steaks for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, at least not every day. Until we talk again, I hope you stay feral.